Lindsey, what's in your lens today?
Oh, I have a lot to say. Let's get one thing straight. Donald Trump talks like a man of the people, but leads like a brand ambassador for dysfunction. Sure, the former president or the current president dominates headlines, social media feeds, and MAGA merch stands. But for everyday Americans who handed him power out of desperation and change, wanting an alternative to the Biden administration, Trump is starting to look like fool's gold. Shiny on the outside, hollow at the core. So back in April, a PBS Marist poll gave Trump an F for his first 100 days back in office. And let's be honest, that grade feels generous. While immigration remains the one consistent drum he bangs, even that is more performance than policy. Yes, border crossings are down, but the cruelty, confusion, and lack of transparency surrounding it has many Americans saying, not like this. Even conservative voices are turning up the volume. Patrick Bet-David, a three-time Trump voter and popular right-wing podcaster, called the administration's handling of Jeffrey Epstein case the, quote, biggest fumble so far. Take a look.
I'm a supporter. 3 times I voted for this man. This is by far the biggest fumble of the administration they've had thus far. Why are you fumbling this? Why are you not having an emergency meeting together to conversate and say, hey, we're going to be on the same page with messaging on this?
Listen, he's not wrong. Trump's Justice Department abruptly declared the case closed despite years of teasing a bombshell client list. Then there's the tariff tirade. In true Trump fashion, he slapped a 30% tariff on imports from the EU and Mexico, blindsiding allies who had been negotiating in good faith. This is economic whiplash. One day you're at the table, the next you're dodging a trade war. Even Mexico, a country that's learned to hold its diplomatic breath during Trump tantrums, called the move, quote, unjust. The same Mexico that helped us in a time of need, sending water rescue teams and firefighters to Texas just a few days ago after the horrific floods that killed at least 129 people. You'd think I'd made my point by now, but no. According to a brand new YouGov Economist poll, support for Trump is plummeting among black voters. You know, the people once considered the potential swing bloc in 2024. In May, 22% approved of Trump. By July, just 15%. So what's driving the dip? The economy. Black voters, like most Americans, are tired of instability, rising prices, and Trump's carnival-style economic policy. Here's the kicker. The same voters who voted for Trump and gave him a shot because they wanted real change, let's say lower costs, better jobs, stronger communities, are starting to see through the illusion. Not to mention, we entered a 12-day war with Iran that no one wanted, and the big, beautiful bill that inevitably will add billions to our deficit, you hear that, fiscal conservatives, and leave almost 12 million Americans without insurance. Don't take my word for it. Let comedian and podcaster Andrew Schultz, a proud 2024 Trump voter, tell it.
I voted for none of this. He's doing the exact opposite of everything I voted for. Yeah. I want him to stop the wars. He's funding them. I want him to shrink spending, reduce the budget. He's increasing it. It's like everything that he said he's going to do, except sending immigrants back. And now he's even flip-flopped on that, which I kind of like. But he's like, oh, well, we kind of need the people working in restaurants, and we need our farmers.
Now, of course, it's convenient for Schultz to play confused because he probably didn't bother to review the Project 2025 initiative, you know, the one that everyone who was anti-Trump was warning about for the entire last election season. But I digress. The truth is Trump governs like a man who believes buzz is better than results and sound bites count more than substance. But voters are getting wise. The slogans are getting stale. The gimmicks are wearing thin. And the average American, they can't pay rent with fool's gold.
Well, look, I agree with several of these criticisms of Trump. There are things I've said. I don't want economic chaos either. I don't agree with the tariffs. I think deporting criminal immigrants is very popular. It's his most popular issue. I think, you know, deporting people who are otherwise not causing anyone any harm and who are vital to our food sectors or others, I think that's kind of foolish. And yeah, so I agree with what you're saying. I guess my counter to it would be, what would the Democrats be doing if they were in charge? More of the same failed 4 years of Biden administration policies that were ruinous for our economy, and no better on the foreign policy. The foreign policy was as confused as ever.
Well, I mean, that's convenient to always blame Biden, but to be the antithesis of everything Biden stands for, to run on that, and to really, to everyone outside looking in, look like there's no clear, direct path, I think is part of the issue. It's that, you know, it's not about the old administration anymore. Everything is about Biden's health. Biden did this. He's still in the situation because of Biden. It's like, okay, but if it was good, then he would take all the credit. So which one is it? So we just need to figure out which policies he's actually following through on. Is he following through on Project 2025, which he said he still has no idea about and had nothing to do with?
Project
or
2025 is such a boogeyman. It is just standard conservative policy. It is just what every Republican president plans to do.
Come on, you read in full.
Issues.
That's a good way to just comb over it, but there's so much in there that was, and also there are leaders from Project 2025 that are in different positions within Trump's
it's not
administration.
a secret plot. It's just conservative policy. People act like it's this weird blueprint. That it's just the exact same things that conservatives have always wanted to do, like shrinking the Department of Education, making foreign policy more America first, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, deporting illegal immigrants who are violent. It's just the conservative plan. There's nothing nefarious about it.
The fact that Trump has no association to it and is doing similar things going down the list, but separately campaigned on different things, like to not add to the deficits, talk about how wasteful Democrats are. Elon Musk totally trying to embarrass him over this big, beautiful bill. I think there's so much, and I think that Andrew Schultz stuck out because Andrew Schultz is not a conservative podcaster, right? He's just a person, kind of like Joe Rogan, who made a decision in the election season and was going to be confident about it and said what he had to say. But I think the fact that he is looking back, even if he is playing, in my opinion, dumb, because I think he is well-read and understands what Trump actually was going to do if it aligns with the traditional conservative agenda. Let's take his word for it and say he really doesn't think this is so far-reaching. Then everything, the war that Trump criticized Biden over and his pullout of Afghanistan and the fact that he jumped in a 12-day war with Iran.
I'm glad it was only 12 days.
But still,
I think it would have been forever if it was Democrats.
No, we wouldn't. Democrats wouldn't have jumped in the war, is what I'm saying. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they would have jumped in the war.
Okay.
Well, we'll never know.
We'll never know,
But I think that that's what I'm saying. Like, what marks is Trump hitting, and what standard are people holding him to? Because now the Jeffrey Epstein case is just the latest example of him letting down his core base. But then you have people like Senator Josh Hawley, who wanted to protect Medicaid for the Republican constituents and just all Americans that rely on it. He's cut that out, and almost 12 million people will be affected.
Making people work in order to get the benefits.
Yeah, but
it's popular.
A lot, but all studies say that almost 12 million, 11.8 to be exact, million people are going to be affected.
Because they don't want to work.
No, I don't think they don't want to work, but sometimes it's just not that simple. Sometimes there are several guardrails in the way to make sure that, and sometimes people fall on hard times, as we all saw right after COVID and following, right? The economy never was the same. So you don't want to help out any Americans that are falling on hard times, even if it's temporary. This is the kind of thing. And he also said, I'm not going to cut Medicaid. He told the American public multiple times, President Trump said, I won't do it. And then he cut it in this dramatic way. So what is truth? What is follow through, and what standard will you be held to?
That is one policy I am glad to be seeing implemented, because we need to cut the benefits. They're massively ruinous for our debt. We need to get our spending in line. We are leaving our children, and our grandchildren are going to be in generational debt because of the medical costs and other payments to the elderly, and so they gotta. But the tax cuts are going to be good for the economy because they're going to allow people to do more investing, more building of their own business. That'll be good.
It'll just override.
Well, I would take care of that by cutting even more. So you're right, if it was up to me, we'd eliminate the deficit like that. Because I would cut everything we needed to cut to get that deficit down to zero, and I wouldn't raise taxes one iota. In fact, I'd cut them even farther. We'd have a little government with a nice little police force and a court system, and that's that. We don't need anything else to do the vast social engineering or global policing or any of that.
You got to think about the most vulnerable populations in a society in order to be successful. You can't only think about the rich people and the 1%, and that's what President Trump seemingly is doing with all of the policies that he's come forth with. The Trump administration's reduction in federal workforce continues. What we were just talking about, stay with us.